everyone's talking about big data and all this data that's been created on all these devices. But I think the real thing that the customer wants is big insight, and they want big experience. They don't want big data. Big data on its own is actually a problem. It's crushing you. You're spending 4 hours a day in your inbox. You're spending, you know, all of this time communicating, and you can't do your necessarily do your day job then on the back of it. So I think what opening up, you know, the devices like the API and the Plantronics headset, and more devices opening up and allowing people to tap into that data and allowing developers to create value on the back of that is really the future.
Industry is completely being upended as we know it, right? You could look back 15 years ago. The content industry was redefined. Entertainment was redefined when we moved from physical to virtual media. We know that the recording industry kind of missed that boat for several years by trying to litigate and trying to go after people that they thought were, you know, obviously pirating. But they ultimately had to change their business model. Retailers are having to change their business model. You've got big box retailers who are threatened by showrooming, right? The point about Amazon, I can go to Amazon, I can look for something cheaper, but I want to go see it physically in the store first.
So I think one of the biggest mistakes people make when developing mobile applications and when they're looking to contextualize the app and they're looking for key assets and key services of the device, they're actually asking for those contextual services out of context. So they usually happen the first time that you open up the application. So you've initially installed the application from the App Store, you open it up, and you get hit with about 3 or 4 prompts. Who's ever had that? This app would like to use your location. This app would like to send you push notifications, etc., etc., etc. So you don't really know at that point what the app is trying to do. You don't know whether it's trying to use your location to just like track you for the sake of it, or if it's providing meaningful information by taking your geo information. You don't know whether they're just going to broadcast push notifications to you for the sake of it, or if the push notifications have, again, a useful feature.
Another thing is when developing a solution, specifically in the location business, is, you know, to make your solution scalable. So one of the things that we did is we developed a software solution, and one of the first things that we did, we installed it in about 200 shopping malls, in, you know, both in the Bay Area and also in South America. So it was in, you know, specifically for those customers of ours, you know, it was immediately available for use so that they can use it immediately. So I think that scalability and that ease of use of the solution is very important for, you know, specifically for a small company who's growing up.
We're talking about context. There's a very fine line between empowerment and exploitation. A very, very fine line. And companies and developers that seek to empower users may unintentionally find themselves exploiting users without even intending to. So what I preach is, you know, when you're thinking about your service, just keep one basic rule if you can. Keep the user in control. Users want control of this.
I think, you know, mobile devices can do an awful lot. Obviously, there's a lot of built-in sensors, but I think things are going to become more interesting contextually when you add on, you know, extra devices. Like, you know, it's rumored that Apple is coming out with a new, you know, a companion to the iPhone, which has been dubbed the iWatch, which will have more, you know, sensing abilities and capacity, so it might be able to take, you know, like these things like Nike Fuel and Jawbone, which will, you know, track your steps and your sleep patterns, maybe even your pulse, your heartbeat, or your blood pressure, or your body temperature, and eventually maybe your mood. So I think that's when things become a little bit more interesting contextually, because there's only so much the iPhone can do. You know, when we can actually read, you know, your temperature and detect your sleep patterns and stuff. You know, imagine, you know, waking up and you've had a bad night's sleep and you get an ad pushed down for a new type of sleeping tablet or something like that. Yeah.
I was just going to add an example related to that, where there's a company analysing your voice for illnesses as well, so they can work out if you have certain illnesses or if you're a smoker and all of these other things. So imagine you're ringing up your insurance company and you're asking for a certain quote. You know, they can detect, actually, you should go to the doctor right now instead of getting insurance, you know. So it's going to be, it's amazing what's beginning to happen on the back of it.